Okay. We are live and action. Right. So, guys, so yesterday we spoke on a lot on locking in. We spoke a lot on and deciding that you want this, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to you, you versus you, right? You can't look at the next person. You can't chin the next person and be like, oh well, look how much profits they made. Why didn't I make that much profit? So on and so forth. Okay. So focus on you. And today we are going to continue talking about the charts after we've done this presentation. I just want you guys to stay locked in, write down whatever you need to write down, and you can also go back and rewatch it at your own leisure. Okay. Now, I want you guys to take on board everything that I'm saying. You didn't join the 21-day boot camp for no reason, right? You joined because you wanted to get to the next level. And this is it, right? You're living it. You're a part of it. So, that's the one thing that a lot of people don't actually see is that they're a part of what they're doing. Like, when people are trading and making money, right? And even if they make like $100, $200, they then they like enough. It's not enough, but they live in it, right? You need to start to understand that you are living it. You are part of the game, right? Now it's down to you whether you're gonna make that a success or not. Okay. So the same as the VIP group, right? The VIP team, whoever's in VIP, you'll see that I've added a free chat for everyone that can come in, and you'll start to see the different types of mentality and the different types of how people act and how people talk, so on and so forth, right? So, so I want you guys to just take a deep look at how people talk and how people move in there. And the reason why I've done that is because I want the people that are in paid service to really deep how other people move, right? Because you guys are VIP service. Like you guys are, most of you are VIP. Most of you are making money in trading and have got a decent account. But look at how the mindset of other people. And it's funny because and I had a really deep thought about doing this and adding a free chat in there, because I want you guys to understand that you can learn from that as well. Okay, I've learned so much from reading people's messages that they send me, and how they think and their mindset and so on and so forth. And I'm just like, wow, I'm glad that I don't think like these people, because that's the reason why they are losing in trading. Okay. So before we start and talk a little bit about psychology, and today we are going to talk on Euro USD straight after, just to show you a little bit of kind of what we spoke about yesterday and how you can implement it in different types of markets in the forex pairs. Okay, right. So let's move on to this. I want to know if okay, it's moving a little bit slow than I thought. Okay, right. Why psychology controls profit, right? You need to understand that it's not what it is that you are looking at, right? In terms of you running profits, so on and so forth. No, it's in the mind, right? It's in your mind. Your mind decides first what it wants, right? Then it shows through action. So you have to understand that your mind is so powerful, right? As you can see here, your mindset decides discipline and decision making, right? So if you are running profit of $100, $200, $300, so on and so forth, you may say to yourself, oh, it's not enough. It's not enough, right? This is why I always link it back to your journey, right? Because your journey is what is, it's so important to understand where you are right now. Many people don't understand where they are right now, but they are thinking, or they are trading like they are 5 years deep in the game, 10 years deep in the game, right? Now, it's not a bad thing, but it is a detriment to your growth at where you are right now. So let's say, for example, if I had £1,000 in my account and I'm up like $500, right? That's basically 50% of what I've got. I've made 50% return on investment, right? So no banks is giving you that. Now, I'm not saying like don't achieve, your targets, your profit targets. I'm not saying don't have patience to profit. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that you have to understand where you are in this game. Following from what I was saying yesterday, it's like, okay, this is my journey and I'm happy to make 500. I'm happy to make 300. And you got to be thinking about these things every single time you are trading. Where am I? What's my journey? What am I looking to achieve? What am I looking to grow? Like, where do I see myself in a month's time? Where do I see myself in 3 months' time? Right now, of course, you need to have discipline, you need to have a good risk to reward, but don't treat this game as like gambling, right? Use this game as where you are going to grow your capital to a point where you're up 10K, 20K, 30K, 40, 50, 100K, where then you have all the time in the world to make them decisions and be like, yo, I'm up 300, 3K. Is it worth for me to take it or not? Maybe it may be the time in your journey for you to be like, okay, cool, I might just be able to hold this a bit longer, right? Understand where you are right now. Your mindset decides discipline and decision making, right? So when you are in trades, I want you to really, really analyze and understand that you're up a certain amount, right? Whether you're going to take it or not. Now, I know a lot of you guys have not been taking profits, right? This is why your account hasn't grown substantially, right? So if you start to take profits and be happy with them profits and be like, okay, cool, I'm done for the day. Like I'm telling you, 300, $500, 300, $500 or pounds, right, is a lot of money. Don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted from seeing all these things on social media. Don't get it twisted from seeing my results, right? Because I've been through this stage and I had to go through this stage to understand every single emotions, right? I had to go through the stage to be like, okay, cool, my time will come, but at this moment in time in my journey, I need to make sure that I am growing consistently, right? £500 in a day is amazing. £300 in a day is amazing. Okay, that's what you need to start understanding. Because I know you thinking, oh well, I see £300, I see $200, like all the time. Yes, but are you taking it all the time? No, you're not. Where would you be if you did take it? There's another day. The market isn't running away. All right. So as we've got here, um, we've got emotions override strategy if unmanaged, right? And this is what a lot of you are going through, right? Your emotions are overriding everything, right? Oh, I'm up this amount, but it's not enough. I need more. I need more. I need more, right? And you need to start reverse engineering that mindset so that you can start growing in your trading, right? And I promise you guys, you are a great trader with capital. Trust me, right? You will be a great trader with capital because you've got time to think, time to relax, time to understand, okay, cool, I can make this decision. And, the money isn't really a big problem, right? Once you start growing your capital. And it's funny because you could be at 5K and think this, and this mindset will start to override you, right? Which is great. Some may be at 10K, some may be at 20, some may be at 50, right? We're all different. So we all have different journeys. But trust me, 3 grand is better than 1K. 5K is better than 3K. 10K is better than 7, right? So the aim of the game is to keep growing your capital, right? No matter what. And for me, like I said to you yesterday, right, you can grow your capital so fast in a month by just being consistent and taking profits daily, right? And you're going to be happier, you're going to be more confident, you're going to be more chill, right? Confidence create consistency, right? Now, to create consistency from confidence, you also have to be consistent, right? So it's funny because confidence creates consistency, but how do you create consistency? Exactly from what are your daily profits? Being happy with 200 here, 300 there, 500 there. Even if it's 100 and you made that decision and you close at 100, right? Yes, you may get into another trade, but you have to understand, and this is another thing that I'm going to explain later on when we're on the chart. You have to understand your risk to reward. Let's just say, for example, today I got into a trade, right? And I closed at £250 profit, right? I can decide two things: come off the charts, enjoy my day, or I can look for another setup. Let's say I look for another setup. I'm not trading with the total capital of what I just made plus that 250 profit, right? I'm looking at it as like, yo, I've only got £250 profit, and I don't want to lose £250 profit of what I just made today, right? So what does that mean? That means that, okay, today I've made £250 profit. I want to still get into another trade, right? But I'm only going to risk maybe $50 or £50 out of that 250, or maybe I'll risk $100 out of that 250. So I know at the end of the day, even if I take a L on this trade, I'm still up £150. Does that make sense? Because what are you? A lot of you are doing is you're building these soldiers, and when I mean soldiers, I'm talking about money. You are making profits and you're making money. But then what you do is you risk the whole bag, or you risk more than the bag that you've just made for today. So it's a decline, right? It's a decline because how are you going to grow your account if you're risking what you made today plus the money that you've made the other days, or probably the capital that you've just invested? Make it make sense, right? Stop using trading as like this game that you're just building money just to blow it all again, right? I hope that makes sense. Lack of psychological structure leads to impulsive trades, right? So you need to be psychologically good, right? And your mindset needs to be good in order for you to take trades, right? You're gonna take impulsive trades because you're thinking about too many things. You're thinking emotions. You're thinking about the money you lost. You're thinking about over trading because you wanna get back the money that you've just lost, right? And that builds a different types of mentality. Like I said, if I made 250 today and then I'm going to risk without understanding what it is that I'm risking, right? And I'm risking more than what I made today, plus going into the profits from other days, where's that going to lead? It's going to lead into disaster. Okay, cool. Common psychological barriers: fear of missing out, leading to overtrading; revenge trading after losses; impatience, waiting for confirmations; lack of confidence, causing premature exits. Right. So you have to understand, fear of missing out is something that you need to get rid of. Just like I explained yesterday, on a 4 hour time frame, you've got so many hours in order for you to get into a trade. The right setup, right? You would understand that it needs to build momentum. It needs to build, let's say we're going into buys, right? And the market has been selling. The market needs to shift. And when it shifts, it will come back to retrace. That will allow you then to understand what's going on. You need to wait for that one, two, three, the full change of structure before you can then start getting into a trade, right? So fear of missing out is just you and your mindset wanting to make money fast. You're not treating this game as opportunity, whereas you're treating it as a game, right? You're treating it as you know, something that you're just gonna make money without any thinking. Okay, and that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're making the right decisions on all the trades that we are taking, whether you're a scalper, well, whether you're an intraday, whether you're a swing. And also, the one thing that I wanted to also knock on today was, you also need to understand what type of trader you are, right? If you're out here going left, right, center, scalping, intraday, swing, right? Your results are gonna be, very jumbled up, right? Because there's no real answer to what it is that you're doing. Now, I don't have an issue with you guys being all-round traders, because I'm an all-round trader. I can scalp, I can intraday, I can swing, right? But you need to know before you even get into that trade what it is that you're doing, right? Because that's where a lot of people go wrong. They'll be scalping and they're making good money, and then all of a sudden they have this fear of missing out. So when the market goes to their TP, they're still holding that trade, right? Whereas that setup was there, you analyzed it as a scalp, right? So you need to treat it as a scalp. Revenge trade after losses. This is something that you absolutely need to get rid of, right? A lot of you guys are out here and revenge trading because you've lost money and it hurts your feelings, right? Now, it doesn't matter if you lose, right? You gotta just you know dust off, dust yourself, but get back on the horse with the right mentality, with the right mindset. Because if you don't, right, that revenge a lot worse, because you're going to lose more and lose more because your mindset is not in the right frame of mind to take a decent trade, to be patient. Okay, impatient waiting for confirmation. This is something that a lot of people suffer from, right? Wait for the changes of structure. This is why it's so important to wait for them changes of structure. Not necessarily on a 1 minute, not necessarily on a 5 minute. Wait for it to do it on a 1 hour, a 2 hour, right? This allows you more time to actually be responsible with what you're doing. Then, when you've actually got the changes of structure on a 1 hour, 2 hour, so on and so forth, you can then go to 15 and look for entries and look for more changes of structure. You have to remember the market needs to change structure, right? And if it changes structure, obviously it starts changing structure from a smaller standpoint, right? But let's just say the market changes structure on a 1 minute, right? It's not changed structure on a 15. It's not changed structure on a 30. It's not changed structure on a 1 hour, right? It's changed structure on a 1 minute. And what is 1 minute? Volatility, volatile, right? There's no reason for the market to blow the other way, if it hasn't changed structure from the other time frames, right? So you have to wait for confirmation on different time frames, bigger time frames, if which is much better, so that you can then be getting into that trade and actually having a higher win to reward ratio. Okay, a higher winning percentage, right? Lack of confidence causes premature exits, right? And this comes from what we just spoke about on the previous one in terms of consistency, okay? Where lack of what is it confidence create consistency. So lack of confidence causing premature exits. You have lack of confidence because you're not continuing to win your daily battles. You can have one trade in the day, right, where you made all the right decisions, your mind was clear, so on and so forth, and you won, like I said, £250 or euros or whatever it is, right? And then you decide to get into another trade, and then you didn't factor the fact that, okay, I'm up 250, so I don't want to lose 250. Maybe I'm willing to lose 100. So even if I lose that 100, I'm up 150, right? That will give you confidence, because you are being strict with yourself, being strict with your rules, and daily wins, right? As you're doing that on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, yeah, you're gonna understand that you will have confidence, right? Confidence in holding your trades, right? Confidence in not coming out of trades early because you've had a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months of consistent wins. Okay, so wins, right, also it builds the confidence, but it also builds data. It builds data because you will start to understand what it is that you need to continue to do to better your results, right? Think of it as like everybody is on level zero, right? Everybody's on level zero, and someone's doing something very, very well, right? Let's say maybe closing every day they close $200, $200, $200, $200, right? And they're happy with that $200, but they're still putting in the work. After that $200 that they've made for the day, they look back at that at their trade. They look back at what happened after the trade. They maybe write it down and journal it. They talk about how they felt, everything, right? And then over a month period of time, they're going to understand, well, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, I closed my trades at $200, right? Maybe it was a 1 to 2, maybe it's a 1 to 3. But based on these trades that have been taken, right, it went up to around 500, 600, 700, right? So that's building data where you can then look back and start working on yourself and growing your capital and growing your mindset and your confidence in potentially holding a trade longer. Does that make sense? Right? Don't think that I was just able to just hold trades long, right? I started building from this way, right? I was scalping, and I was, like I told you, I was scalped here and there and bought $5, $10, $8, whatever it was. And I was making money. I was making at least 300 to 500 euros, pounds a day, right? Because I was going crazy with the scalping, right? But I knew that was work, right? It was work, me scalping all day, right? But I started to understand how I can hold my trades longer, how I can, use my data to make me grow in my capital. Okay, so moving very quickly, right? 30-day mindset rebuild roadmap, right? So daily emotional check-ins, right? This is what I was saying about yesterday about having a notebook where you are going to journal, write down your feelings, your thoughts, your trades, how much you made, so on and so forth. If you are in VIP, and if you're not in VIP, I've dropped the free group where you can join in there, and there's a trade journal in there where you can write things in there and see your results and so on and so forth. And you can also sync this with your MetaTrader, right? But even though it's on the computer, I still prefer writing things down because at the end of the day, right, we get a 1 hour market break. This is a perfect time to write things down, right? How you felt for the today, what the profits were, so on and so forth, whether you lost, your mindset, what happened throughout the day, da 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 da. And then at the end of the week, you can go back and read it. This is building rapport on yourself. This is building rapport on your life, on your journey. This is so, so critical. This is so, so good for you guys to grow to the next level, right? You want to be millionaire traders, right? You want to be 6-figure, 7-figure traders, right? But you're not doing these things. What I used to do every single day, when the market closes, right, I'll go for a walk, right? I'll be talking to myself about, yo, how's the day gone? What's this? How did I do that? Could I have done that better? And then, what's crazy is that when I actually, let's say if I take a loss, right, I already know why I took the loss, right? I already know why I took the loss, right? I've already analyzed, right, why, if I got into a trade, I already know the two. Obviously, we know that there's two ways that the market can go up or down, but I already know. I already analyzed the sells and the buys. So I'm like, okay, cool. The reason why I took the L is because maybe I was impatient. Maybe that market I didn't read that well. Maybe I wasn't. as active. Maybe I wasn't as focused. I already know, right? So you need to, in trading, for you to grow, you need to be self-critical about your work. This is so important. Trade journaling with emotional notes. Exactly what I've just said. Building confidence through small wins. This is so important. A lot of you guys think that, like, I've came to start making these amounts of money from just randomly. No, I've built small wins, right? I've started from $2, $3, $4, $10, $8, $20, $50, da 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 da, and just keep growing it. Boom, boom, boom. And it's crazy because you're so like locked in, right? You're so locked in. And this is why I say 3 months locked in. Oh my days. Like, I get so excited talking about it because, like, I remember the times where I'm just like super locked in with, with my daily wins, right? And when you start getting locked in, 3 months in, you're going to be a different person. Different person. And when we're talking about building confidence, right, and you winning today, like, and let's be honest, right? You can get into a trade and make 100, 200, $300. Boom, you're done for the day, right? You go in again the next day. Boom, you're done for the day. You go in again the next day. You're done for the day. Let's say on average, right? Let's just say on average you make 250 euros or pounds or dollars, right? At the end of the week, right, you're going to be up 1,250. 1,250. Okay. So that is something that you can grow from next week. But it's not just money that you've made. You've built your confidence. You've built your stamina. You've built your patience because you're like, yo, I made money for today. I don't need to get in again. Right? Now, don't look at it because obviously I run a VIP service, right? I will send signals. I will send signals, when I see fit. But you don't have to take every single signal that's been sent in. If you're done for the day, you're done for the day. And that gives you a lot of self-confidence, a lot of, you know, patience, a lot of just self-control where you're in a group where signals been sent, even if we win or not, you've done your job for the day. 1 week in, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in. Like, I'm talking about £200, $250 a day for the week. Yeah. Let's do that for the month. You're up 5K. 5K just getting 250 a day. You're up 5K for the month, right? And for the month, right? Let's say now the following month you're up to 4K. You're up to, you want to say, yeah, £400, £400 for the day. It's pretty good. You're not risking too much and you're making your money, right? Let's average it down to 350. 350 for the week, you got 1.7, right? 1.7 for the month, 7 bags. 7 bags plus the 5 bags that you just made the following month, right? The previous month, sorry. You're up to 12K. That's in 2 months, right? Now, of course, you can count in losses and so on and so forth. Let's just say we round it down to 10K. In 2 months, you're at 10K by just averaging $250 to $400 a day, right? Now you're looking at this trading thing a lot different now. You're looking at just absolutely growing in your stages, and you're growing. Now, I know I'm talking in terms of small numbers, and like I said yesterday, it's not small numbers, right? But the great grand scheme of things, in trading, it's pretty, the bottom of the barrel is pretty at the bottom, right? So if you cannot be doing well at the bottom, how are you going to be doing well at the top, right? Because the same way I'm talking in terms of small building, right? You can be at 100K. What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be going and saying, you know what? I want to make 20K a week, right? Now, don't get me wrong. You can risk 10K, 1 to 2. You've got 20 bags. It's that simple, right? Or risk, 5K, 1 to 3, you got 15K, right? But we can only talk about that when you're there. right? That's a whole different type of mindset. That's a whole different type of confidence, right? Because a lot of people, they think that they will grow to be these amazing traders, but then once if I give you an account with 100K, right, you might not blow it, but you might blow it because you think you've got a lot of money, and you might go and put crazy risks down, right? And you're not treating the system how the system needs to be treated, right? At 100K is calm. You can be happy making 2K a day, right? 2K a day, yeah. At the end of the month, at the end of the week, what you got? 10K, right? 2K a day, 2K a day. At the end of the month, you got 40K on a 100K account. Do you see the difference, right? And you could probably make 10K in two trades right week, right? And the following week, you're back on the same grind, right? Living your life, everything's Gucci, right? But it's the same thing that you're doing at 100K that you're doing on a smaller account. Okay, so understand what I'm trying to say in terms of that. Don't just think that because we're talking about small numbers that it's small. No, it's actually building a pool. It's actually building you getting to that next level and you growing to become a great trader, even when you've got a decent amount of capital to grow from. Can everyone put one in the chat so I know you're with me? Everyone put one in the chat so I know you're with me. Okay, cool. Systematic exposure to uncertainty to build tolerance, right? This all links with the same thing. Now, you need, like, guys, you need to have a journey, right? You need to have a plan, right? No one's ever accidentally got rich, right? No one's accidentally got rich. Now, I get it. There's some people that got lucky and whatever, but they didn't accidentally get lucky. They had to invest in something. They might have said, you know what, I'm gonna just put my £100 in this in crypto, and then boom, before you know, they got 100K, right? Same me, right? I don't think I was lucky. I think I was just at the right place at the right time, but with me putting persistent in wanting to make money, right? A lot of you guys know that, when the whole lockdown thing happened, I got into this crypto thing where not a friend of mine, he's a friend of mine now, but back then I joined this group, or I was just looking for opportunities. So I stumbled across Twitter. No, not Twitter. Yeah, I think it was Twitter. It was a social media platform somewhere. Might have been Twitter. Stumbled on Twitter, and there's this guy talking about, I just made 100K in 2 days, right? And he was talking about this coin, and I was thinking, yo, what is this coin, right? What is this coin this guy's talking about? Wait 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna go back off it, but yeah, I was thinking about what is this coin this guy's talking about? So I looked into it. I saw the token, and then there was a Telegram group. I joined the Telegram group. I went through everything. I was like, oh, listen, this looks like if that guy made 100K in a couple of days, I can make at least something, right? So I ended up joining the group, joining the Telegram, got involved, tried to see what was going on inside there. And then there was this guy that was showing you how you can buy the coin, so on and so forth. I ended up buying the coin. I put in, I think it was 120 pound, £150 or something like that. Right? There's a guy in there that said to me, yo, I'm gonna teach you how to buy this stuff. And then, he eventually did. And the next day I woke up, it was like 350. I was like, wait, what? I just basically doubled my money, right? So then the next day I was like, that same day, I added more. I added like 300, all that I had left. At the end of 3 months, I was up 100K, right? So, you build your own luck, but it's like you have to also be there, right? You have to also want it. You can't just say, oh, this person becomes lucky, that person, um, that person became this. What was it out of curiosity? It was Feg token. It was a token called Feg token. And it's funny because at the same time with 2020 when all these cryptos was going, um, there was a coin, not Elongate. It was a coin that went bust. I actually got in when it first came. I forgot the coin. It went really, really big. I forgot the coin. When it comes to my head, I'm gonna give you guys. It was basically a meme coin that these guys just made, but it just became big. Moon was it Moon coin? Moon. It was something to do with Moon. Like it wasn't Doge. It was like Moon something Moon, right? And I remember I was like one of the first few people that got in because I of these group, right? And I got in like a couple of days. I went from like 100 to like 3K or something, and I got out. That would have made me a millionaire at 2020, right? So what I'm saying is that like you know, being exposed to certain things, you can also make money, right? You can also grow in that, but you don't. It's luck. Being lucky is not being lucky. Being lucky is basically just a word of like you putting consistent graft, figuring out something, looking at something, and by doing that, it's gonna build something in the future. Okay, so going back to this, right? Because I want to get on the charts. Okay, are we moving? What is going on here? Okay, right. So when it comes to this, right, I want you guys to understand something. You need to not be getting into trades just randomly getting into trades. Okay, if somebody messaged you right now and said, "Oh, Pramod, Isaiah, Kaya, like, come party with us tonight." Like right now, someone messages right now, come party. We've got a party, house party. There's gonna be hella things. There's gonna be hella man. Like, let's go party. What are you doing? Right? I know there's many people, maybe not in this group, but many people that be like, yeah, let's let's go party, right? Let's go party. But then, does it make sense? Did you even plan that? Do you even know what's going on? What is your day looking like tomorrow? Do you have work? Right? So a lot of people are getting into trades without even thinking, without even having confluences, without even having reasons to get into a trade. So how do you then be confident? You can't be confident getting into something that you didn't even really look at. Right? It's so important for you to understand the trades that you are going into. Okay. Right. Here, rate emotions from 1 to 10 during sessions. Right. So when you are trading, understand your emotion. Understand like how you feel. Right. Understand like, yo, maybe the day isn't a good day for you to trade. Maybe something happened, right? We're human beings. Life is going to happen, right? Now, another thing what I do, right, is if I feel down or something's happened, right, I would say to myself, well, I'm not really in the right frame of mind to take any trades, right? So I'll just stay out of it, right? I'll stay out of it. Now, these are just ideas how you can decide whether to take a trade or not. But within yourself, right? Some of you may need to write it down, but within a good place to take trades or not, right? Now, one thing about me is that if someone pisses me off, or if someone gets on my nerves or something's happened, I don't automatically get into a trade. What I do is I will feel that emotion. I'll use that emotion as fuel, and then I'll be on the charts, making sure that I'm looking at all the confluences to get into trade to kind of put it in that person's face. Now, I'm not necessarily putting that person's face, but I'm just saying I've won the day, I've won this challenge, I've won this. Okay, so you can also build your emotions. If it's a negative emotion, you can transfer it to a positive emotion. Okay, build emotional patterns for future preparation. Right, it's basically the same thing. Building discipline. Discipline is a direction, right? A lot of people think that motivation is something that's going to make of money. No, discipline will. Right? Motivation lasts seconds, lasts minutes,
Is there
lasts
one
days,
second?
but discipline lasts forever. Right? Being disciplined with your decisions, with your cutting out losses early, with daily win, you're gonna get to a next level fast. It's hard to become rich in this game. It's not hard. You just right. Use rituals to fix mindset. Right. So pre look at the market before you get into these trades. Understand where the market is at. Understand the journey of that market, whether it's time for you to get in or not. Understand the market structure of it. Okay. Can you explain what do you mean by build emotional patterns for future preparation? Can I'm explaining it, bro. You need to listen, right? Exactly everything that I've kind of said is important for you to to wait, build emotional patterns for future preparation. So, for example, let's just say 3 days. I've understood that, when someone pisses me off in the morning, let's say I wake up, right? And I know my wife or my girlfriend pisses me off in the morning. And when they pissed me off, I went into a trade and I lost. That is preparation. That's already understanding that when that situation happens, I make a bad decision. So, in order for you to prepare, you know that if that situation happens again, I'm not going to go into the market and trade because you already know the patterns of how that makes you feel. Just like I said, if someone pisses me off or I feel a type of way about something, I don't go in the market and take a trade. What I do is I will look at the market. I'll make sure I've got all the correct influence and confluences. I'll make sure that I'm in the right frame of mind, but I'll use that pain or I'll use anger as fuel, but not as me to go and actually trade, but for me to go in and make the right decisions. That's gave me extra fuel to even make the right decision, right? So you're building emotional patterns for future preparation. Does that make sense? Stop after two losing trades. Now, this comes down to you guys. If you guys want to basically, you know, you know, take one loss and you're out, two loss and you're out, three loss and you're out, it's up to you because scalping to intraday to long term is all different, right? But at the end of the day, right, it comes down to this. If like I said, if I make 250 euros in a trade, right? And I'm happy with it and I've closed it out, right? And I still want to get into the market. I still see opportunities. I'm not going to risk the whole bag of what I just made today because if I risk the whole bag of what I made today, I'm back at zero, right? Then if I continue taking them losses, I'm now eating into yesterday's profit or the days or last week's profit or last month's profit, right? So I'll make the right decision on a daily basis of how I'm going to grow my account. So I'll be different person this week than I was last week. Different person today than I was yesterday, right? You can't go and make 250 today and then decide to get back in the market and then lose 500. What the hell? Like, you need to slap yourself because now you have just eaten through yesterday's profit or your own capital, right? Now, I understand you might make 250 today and then tomorrow you might lose 100. I get it, but it's a different day. And you've gave yourself chance. You've gave yourself the right mindset, the clear mindset. You've gone into the market, with no clustered mind. It's a different day, and you're just doing what you did yesterday, right? Now, if you take that 100L, it's up to you to be like, yo, you know what? Today I'm gonna be out, right? I'm gonna re-lock in, re-see the confluences, re-see what I was doing wrong, and take the L today, right? So this game isn't just about coming in the markets and making money. It's about self-analyzing and being self-critical about trading, about your journey. Respect your trading plan every session. This is super important. If you don't respect your trading plan, that means you don't respect yourself, right? That means you don't look in your mirror and be like, yo, I am who I say I am, right? You're basically looking in the mirror and saying, oh, you're a sausage, right? You're an absolute clown because you don't respect your trading plan, right? And a lot of people, when we say trading plan, right, it's not necessarily about having A, Y, Z equals Z, right? But it means that you are making sure that you're following rules, you're following confluences, right? You're not out here one day to take a trade with 5 confluences and then the next day you take a trade with one, right? You're making sure that, and you could have a trading plan saying, you know what, I need 3 or 4 confluences, right? You might say 3 confluences is low probability, 4, 5 confluences is mid probability, 5 above or 6 above is high probability, right? So you can start then writing your trading plan. Your trading plan isn't about A, Y, B, and Z equals this. It's like you're doing education to learn and understand how market moves, market structure, and charting patterns, support and resistance, so on and so forth. Okay. But then you inside of that trading plan, you know that okay, I'm not gonna disrespect, if I make a certain amount in a day, I'm not gonna go and lose that whole amount in a day. You've literally made money today. Why are you then gonna go and lose it? Okay, so detach yourself from money, right? I'll be honest. I started making more money when I started not caring about money, and it's a funny thing because yes, you do have to care about money, but you don't have to care about money. If that makes sense, right? We're in this game, and the way I think, right, and I want you guys to take on this mindset, right? I'm in the market of money, right? Because I'm a part of the market. That means I am money, right? So why the hell am I gonna stress out about money when I am a part of money, right? When I make money, right? When I have the opportunity, right, to make money, right? So why am I thinking money, 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 money? No, money is just a result of my good work. Money is just a result of me looking at the market correctly, me putting in the work, right? Trade outcomes do not define your identity. Whether you make a loss, whether you make a win, right? Money still doesn't define who you are, right? If you just because you lost money today, right, in the markets, you don't go outside and people call you loser, you're L trader. No, people don't do that, right? So it's not your identity, right? But what it is that you need to realize is that you need to detach yourself from money. And I say this all the time. It's funny because it's always these people that have a lot to say that love and care about money so much and they don't even make any, right? You tell them to invest and learn something in themselves for themselves to grow, and they looking at you like you've took £1 million off them, right? And it's crazy because those are the people that never make money. Those are the people that money runs away from, right? Money is currency, right? Currency, what does that mean? It's a current. The money needs to keep flowing in order to come back, right? So if you are, if a river is a flow, right? It flows, right? What happens if that river stops flowing? The water will dry up because it will stay in one place. It's just how money works, right? So money needs to come and go. Losses is okay to happen because it's going and then it's gonna come back, just like a current. Look, just like a currency. Money's moving all the time, right? And that's how you need to see money. Now, I'm not saying go and splurge and go crazy and spend a lot of money. No, but what you need to do, you need to give back, right? You need to understand that money is opportunity, right? But money is not all being idle. Okay, you will make a lot more money when you start to move like that, right? I promise you. You know, I don't know how it works, right? Well, I've been in positions where I've got no money, right? Back from days back in the days, right? I'll have like maybe £50 to my name, and someone needed money, I'll give them money, right? Someone in the streets might ask me, and my heart is like, yeah, he's good. I'll give him money. I don't even have any money, but then it's like it's funny because then it'll be like the next day or the next week, I'll get a booked job, right, for my vehicle wrapping business, right, and you have to really go through the journey of money, right, and to understand how money really works. Okay, and it's the same as trading. Like because I'm in a pool of money with trading, and so are you guys. You all are in the same pool as me with a lot of money. Why are you like worried so much about money, right? More money will come to you if you just start doing the correct things well. Okay, risk a fixed percentage, not amounts, right? So this works two ways, right? It's up to you whether you want to risk a fixed percentage, right, or an amount. I like to go with an amount because I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do in these months, right? I trust myself. I put in the work in these charts, right? So let's say if I have like 10K, yes, I might risk a grand, right? A grand out of that 10K is potentially 10%, right? So as long as you know your percentage and your amounts, then you're fine, right? Because a lot of people, what they do is they don't know the percentage and then they don't know the amounts that they're risking, right? If I say to myself, okay, I've got 10K, I know I can make good money from 8K, and I'll risk 2K to make a 1 to 3. Okay, I'm up, right? And I'm waiting for a very good risk to reward, a very high probability setup. I'm good. But if I lose, I'm also good because I'm like, yo, I got 8K. I might lower my risk then, right, to get back to 10K, but then I'll do the same thing again. Now you have to remember, it's a part of the journey, it's a part of the game. Like you can't get to the next level without actually having some risk, right? But the one thing that I always say is like, I would rather, and I will tell you, you should rather risk, right, when you've got money than when you haven't got money, right? And risking on your own account with own capital, not going crazy and risking on your funding, something that's paying you, right? But you're doing it on your own personal account, right? On your account that like you've got all rights. No one's gonna come and knock on your door, no one's gonna close your account, but that risk is being managed properly. Okay, and be happy with it. If you take the L, be happy as how you would be if you was going to make a win, right? That's what's funny about trading, right? A lot of people are angry when they take losses, and it's like, well, that you had the same 50% chance of making a win, right? You have to risk to get reward. So why are you mad? Focus on execution, not reward. So important. Mastering patience. Wait for your setups every time. Patience is your strong edge. Study missed entries to understand impulse. Let the market come to you. This is very basic. This is the things that I'll keep talking to you guys about, right? You've got so much time to wait for the market to come to you. Okay? Like hours. You don't have to rush it. Patience is something where a lot of people lack, right? You lack because you want to make money, you got bills to pay, you got that, you got this, you got that. I always said the people that have a job and are trading, they're in the best position because you don't need to just make money in trading, but you're using trading as something that's going to get you out the game, out the system, right? And a lot of people, what they do is they don't have a job, they don't have nothing, they don't have no money coming in, and they're just using trading as their way to make money. Whereas really and truly, you should use trading to get you out the system, right? You're using it as a side hustle to get you out the system. Now we know as that side hustle, you can be out the system in 2 months, 3 months, right? So yeah, confidence comes from data, not hope, is what we've spoken about. Backtesting strengthens beliefs, right? Backtesting is like, for me, I'll tell you straight. I don't go and backtest and do like, oh yeah, did. No. I go back to read data, right? There's different types of ways of backtesting. If I'm looking at head and shoulder pattern, right, I'll go back on the charts and look at head and shoulder patterns and see how they worked out in different times, in different um in different market, in different sessions, market sessions. I'll see why did that work out, why didn't that work out, so on and so forth, and then I will start to have have a report and data from that, right? Rewatch winning trades to reinforce identity, right? Your winning trades should be something where you've just won, you've made a good trade. So why are you not going to look at that, right? You need to re-look at that, like, because you've just made a win. That means that what you've done has worked. How can you replicate that over and over and over and over and over again? How can it be a thing where you just see it when it's on the charts, right? That comes from winning trades. So a lot of people, when they win a trade, they don't go back and watch and re-look at what they've done, what good things that they've done. What they do is they just tend to, they'll go do something funny, something with that money. Okay, reduce screen time to avoid emotional exhaustion. This comes down to what I was saying before. You need to be happy with what you're making, right? If you make a certain amount in a day, cool, done, I'm out, right? You don't need to be on the screen, right? The same thing that you've seen, right? You'll probably see, a couple of hours later, right? Enjoy your time in making money. Enjoy your time in trading. Fall back in love with trading, right? That's the most important thing. Understand your trading identity, right? Who you believe you are reflects in your trades. This is so important. I talk about this all the time. Look at yourself in the mirror, right? Believe what it is that you're looking to achieve. Don't believe and trust in yourself. How the hell is it going to show in your trades, right? It's not, right? The reason why I catch good trades and catch long trades is because in who I am, right? And the work that I've done speaks, right? All this 5.5 years that I've been trading, I've built a rapport, right? Shift from a gambler to a strategist, right? We are here as strategists, analysts. We need to be able to have reasons for us to do something. You taking a trade out of the blue, right, just means that you're like a feather in the wind, just getting blown around, right? Getting blown around. Oh, I make profit. Oh, I lose. You're just getting blown around in the wind. You don't even have no direction, right? You need to be a strategist and you need to be an analyst, right? And have reasons to take a trade. Create trader affirmations. That's up to you if you want to do that or not, right? For me, at the end of the day, I know who I am. I look at myself in the mirror. I know I'm great. I need to be great. I want to be great. Right. So these are the things that I'm going to go and do in these charts. Now, I'm not just going to do it in the charts, but I'm going to work on these charts. Right. I'm going to put in the time. Daily review to reinforce identity. The end of the day, like I said before, look back at your day. Look at what you did. Are you happy with the day? Did you just close when you close the trades? Did you get back in? Did you wait? Did you stay patient? Did you say I'm good for the day? So on and so forth. Gotta talk to yourself. All right. The psychology of a loss. Losses are cost of a business. Accept uncertainty as normal. Learn to lose properly to win long term. Reduce revenge trading patterns. Right. This is important because at the end of the day, if you fall into the psychological losses, the mindset of losses, you are going to continue to go downhill. Right. I talk about this all the time in terms of you got a upward spiral where you're doing great things and everything's working out and you staying on top of everything, or you got a downward spiral where you're losing, your psychology is gone bad, you know, everything's over. And it's like what they say, when you rain it pours. When you rain it pours, it's not because it's pouring, right? It's because your mind is gone, it's gone crazy. So you see everything as like as as x times 10, right? X10, like it's worse, when really and truly, when it started raining, it was gonna rain anyways, right? The weather forecast already told you, yo, today's gonna be a bad day of rain, right? So when it rains, it pours. That saying is just literally like your mindset is just continuing to just ruin itself. Okay, so we don't want that, right? Because losses can cost you your trading account, right? It's not, we're not saying that losses are bad. Losses are not bad, but if you fall into the psychology of losses, you are going to continue into that. When it rain, it pours. Okay, you have to accept that, you've taken an L. You have to be like, okay, it's part of the game, right? Learn to lose properly to win long term. This is a big one, right? This is such a big one. Learn to lose properly to win long term. If you can't learn to lose properly, you're gone. You're done. Whereas if you learn properly, you can fight another day. You can get into the trade another day. And I spoke about this before. I remember before, like I put like £150 in an account. This was back in the days. And I took L's all the way to like $10, right? £10, right? And then from that £10, I was like, you know what? It's fine, right? I'm gonna go crazy, right? I'm gonna be on my charts, gonna make sure I'm looking at things correctly. Blah, blah, blah. That $10, I built it to 3K, right? Now I could have then just lost that $10 and be like, oh, it is what it is, and then put more money in. But I was like, no, let me work, right? Let me understand this properly. Let me build this properly. Let me give myself time, right? Reduce revenge trading patterns, right? This is so important because if you start having revenge trading and it's a thing that you continuously do after a loss, that's just a downward spiral, right? Psychology of winning. Winning creates overconfidence. Overconfidence leads to losses. Stay neutral regardless of the outcome. Reset state after each winning streak, right? This is something where it affects a lot of people too, right? Because they're winning, they get confident, they get gassed, they think they're the bigger market, they think they're Houdini, they think they're Superman, whoever, Catwoman, whoever you wanna put, you can put the name there if you want, right? You have to understand to stay neutral, right? This is what I say to people all the time. Stay working, stay grafting, stay putting in the work, stay studying, right? Stay neutral, right? Just because you made 10K or just because you made $100 or $300, yo, if you don't stay neutral, you're gonna go and blow your account again, right? Because you're in a state of mind of, yes, this the psychology of winning, right? which creates the overconfidence. It gives you that mindset of like you're above everyone, right? That there's nothing that you can do that is wrong, right? And what that does is, you, like I said, you will blow your account. £300 today, and you gassed, and tomorrow you're now battling. You're battling the charts, right? You're battling, and you went from swing trading. Now you're a scalper, like you know, you even forgot who you are. You even forgot who you are, right? I can laugh about it because I've been there, and I know a lot of you go through it, right? You've lost some money. Now you become a scalper because you think scalping is going to make you a lot of money and you're going to get back in your losses, get back from your losses. Okay. Stay neutral, right? Once you win trade, you be calm, you understand it, you know, okay, cool, we're up today. What's my next task? That's what trading is about. It's all about the next task. How I'm going to keep my account up, how I'm going to be moving up from yesterday. You know, how am I going to be 1% better today? I'm going to be 1% better tomorrow, right? I was up $300 yesterday. Today I can't lose $300. I need to be above, right? Yes, I can lose maybe 200. I mean 100, right? Maybe lose 100 or 50, but I need to make sure that I'm up. I'm better than I was yesterday, right? And these are the things that you have to keep talking about within yourself, right? Impulse control. Use 5-second pause rule before trades, right? Stop trading when mind feels rushed. Slow breathing resets your nervous system. Plan trades before entering. These are things that you should already be doing in terms of plan trades before entering, right? You know, I understand people, and this is, you will understand this if you move a certain way on these charts, right? How can I explain it? If you're like, oh, damn, like let me get in this trade. Oh, you know, your heart's pumping fast. You know what I mean? Like it's some game, right? You're already trading wrong, right? If you're breathing heavy in trades, and so you're already trading wrong, right? You need to be very calm when it comes to trading, right? You know, okay, cool. I got 2 grand in my account. I'm risking $200 for 1 to 3. Boom, I'm in the trade. Lose or win, I'm a robot, right? That's how you trade, right? And even when you get to like 20K, boom, I'm risking 2 grand to make a 1 to 3. Boom, I am calm. 20 grand, you lose 2 grand, calm. You firm it, right? Because that 2 grand, you could have made 6 grand, but you have to take the risk, and you knew the risk. So why are you stressing, right? Why are you stressing? You don't need to stress, right? We spoke about this before. You need to journal your things. This is so important. Just journal, 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 right? Go for walks. Go for, take time for yourself for mindset, right? A lot of people are out here and they'll lose a trade. They're straight on rails on Instagram. They're just lost. They just took a big L, or they just blew their account. Next minute, they're laughing on reels. They're laughing on reels. They're not even like understanding what just happened, right? And that builds builds like a habit of, when you take L's, you go and enjoy yourself and watch reels, right? It gives you that pleasure, right? Don't do that, right? Make sure that you are out here and making sure that you're improving week in, week out. Okay. The last slide is everybody's. Do please put up with me. I need to see who's in here. Here, everyone's still locked in. We'll talk about the charts very quickly in a minute. This is the final slide. Everyone's here. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, last slide. Detach from outcomes. Master patience. Build confidence through data. Control impulses. Maintain emotional neutrality every session. Okay, this is everything that we've basically spoken about today, right? And I want you guys to take this on board. Okay, please, please, please take this on board. Okay, I'm gonna exit this and I'm gonna share my screen in a minute. and I'm going to show you the charts. Let me put this on. The lighting. Oh, the light is blessing me, boy. That lighting is blessing me. Woo! Okay. Bro, we never lock out. If you lock out, you definitely ain't locking back in. Lock out. Okay, cool. Let me share the screen. We are going to be sharing. We're going to talk about Euro USD now. Can I get someone up, please, on video, so I can ask you some questions like yesterday? Who's willing to take part today? Who's willing to take part today, please? I need one person, just one. There's 9 of you. Do we have anyone that wants to come up and speak while I ask you
Yes.
some questions? This is good for you and for everybody else. No,
I'm willing to do
nobody?
that.
You have a volunteer. You did.
Guys, I need someone to come up, please.
I'm there, Ajay.
Udi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, yesterday we spoke about psychological levels, okay? Now, with
Yes.
psychological levels, where do we want to put our psychological levels?
Those are actually round numbers.
Perfect. So we want them in round numbers, okay?
Yes.
So we want them in round numbers because why do we want them in round numbers?
Because those are the levels from where we can expect a bounce back or reaction.
Yes, but also more in depth is the fact that this is where the bigger institutions are pushing the price to, right? They're going to want to buy and sell from these specific round psychological levels, okay? That's the most important thing. Now, of course, we can put support and resistances in, in certain levels as well. Let's just say intraday levels. They will also work, but the most important thing is having your psychological levels. That will help you massively. I like to use my psychological levels as support and resistances. And the thing is, what you have to understand as well, it's it's what you see in the market. Okay, it's not like, oh, I have psychological levels, but then I'm gonna put these support and resistance here and there and there. And no, just trade based off your psychological levels, right? What people tend to do is they tend to put too much emphasis on trading. They put too much eyes on trading. They'll have this and that and this and that. It's like, no, if I know my system and I've back tested my system based on psychological levels of support and resistance, and they work consistently, why am I then going to change that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to have to go back off camera because I know we'll probably mess up. And we are going to talk on Euro USD very quickly. Today, I just wanted to get through the psychological lesson because I think it's very, very important for everybody to understand and see. Okay, right. Thank you for that, Udit. Appreciate it. Right, let me know. You can see my screen, yeah? This is Euro USD. Right, Euro USD. We are basically in this area, right? I know on a weekly time frame, it is basically consolidation, right? But we are basically in an uptrend on a weekly time frame, but on a daily it's on a downtrend. Okay, so I just want to go down all the way down to a 4 hour. So a 4 hour time frame, and I want to just share my charting. Right, I want to delete these because these don't make there's nothing really important with them, but I just want you guys to see my levels and my numbers. Okay, so as you can see, psychological level, mid zone, psychological level, right? Now you tell me, does that not look clean to you, right? You have support, resistance, and psychological level. You got support, resistance, psychological level, and you got mid zones. What is hard to not understand what is happening here? It's not hard to understand. You really understand exactly what's going on. Okay, so when I was talking about Euro USD yesterday, this is, I mean, GBP USD yesterday, this is Euro USD, same system. 1.15, 1.16, 1.17, right? Look how perfect. Look how perfect they work, right? So the charts, right? I know exactly where I am. Okay, now we can see the price underneath our level of resistance. We know we've got support there. So what am I going to do? I will sell from underneath here after reading what the market is doing here, right? And I will sell to my area of support. Simple. What is here to here? 100 pips, 50 pips, mid zone. Simple as that, right? Now, a lot of people are out here making so much errors because they've got support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, right? Now, I want to show you one thing, right? Just because I got my area resistance here, my area there, I got my mid zone there, this also is somewhat area support if the market is above it. Now, I've told you about my mid zones, what I like to do. My mid zones, I like to continue a trade, or I want to see the market, rejecting off that area to give me extra confirmation. So as we can see from this level here, market reacted, right? And stayed under and came down to a level of support. Market reacted, stayed above that area. So from these areas then is when you can analyze the market, because you're like, well, I'm above my level of mid zone, right? What does that mean? That means to me that the market may potentially continue, especially if we are above the area and we've got loads of wicks, rejections, right? That's when I'm going to be analyzing that market to see how that market is going to react. So if I'm in this area, remember, it's about reverse engineering, okay? What I was talking about yesterday. Let me turn this light off because it's blinding me. Right. this area, what is happening in this area? We can clearly see it's created a descending, and it's broke out from the upper end, sorry. So we can see that market has broken out. Now, I don't need to even draw that top trend, right? I just understand that the market has created high, high, low, high, right? So what do I always say? We want to see a 1, 2, 3. And obviously we want to see a change of structure, right? We can see that the market has gone there, change structure there, done a 1, 2, 3, came down. And we've changed the first structure, we've changed here, right? Then we've got this way. Here, what to do? I will draw my Fibonacci because now I know market has changed structure. Draw my Fibonacci from the bottom to the top. There. And as you can see, this market came back and reacted off the 78%, right? So from that area, I'm like, okay, cool. That's the first initial idea that we've got. Fibonacci, it's changed structure around here, double bottom, yes, okay. And now we've got above that area of mid zone Fibonacci, and then it's here is where I keep saying to you guys that you need to be extra patient, right? So let's just zoom in. Let's zoom in to see what is happening here, right? And also, I want you guys to just remember one thing, right? The market is up. So I know I've got my area of resistance here, my area of like a mid support here, which is mid zone, right? But you can also have a mid zone here, right? A mid zone there. From that area to that area, that will allow you to understand that you can also take and not take trades, but you can see how the market reacts from there. Now, I don't tend to do this a lot. I just know it based on knowing the system, right? That the market can potentially have a little area of call where the market relaxes, right? And you'll see, even if I do that and I'll draw like a line, and even if you go left and right, we'll be able to see that the market reacts quite well to these areas. Okay, that's another mid zone in between these two zones, right? You can even go to an extent of having it even in the middle, but like I said, the market, you don't need to draw too much, right? You don't need to draw too much. For me, I'm trading from level to another level. That's my plan. That's what I've said to myself I'm going to be doing, trading from level to level. So for me, it's like, why am I going to stress out? Like, look at this, level to level, right? Here we are moving in this downtrend, right, from a big standpoint. So you also need to understand that. Right? So this is the highest point. The market has not broken anything, right? So we're still in a downtrend. Then it breaks these lows, breaks that low. Now I know that the market is continuing coming down. So that's kind of what's actually occurred in this movement, because we are coming down. There, 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 right? We've got this high now as well. That will become lower high, lower low. Now it's between these two zones that we got to be focused on. What is the market doing? It's giving us a downtrend, right? We're moving down, right? The market's down. So once that price actually comes back up to here, right, we know that that market wants to retrace and go back down. Now, yes, I know it's not gone to a level of resistance, right? But it's gone to a level of mid-zone resistance, right? And you should already know that, right? So if we go back down, we are already down 2-hour time frame. I'm gonna delete this, right? So we've got the Fibonacci. Wait, what's that Fibonacci? Right, we've got the Fibonacci here, there to there. Price comes down, and look how chill you can be, right? Price bounces from the 78, pushes up. You might be thinking, oh well, I didn't get into that trade. Why? Oh my god, I've missed out. When you market has not changed structure again for us to now look at this market to go up, right? Oh, what's going on? 1 second, my thing's crashed. Okay. The market has not changed structure again for us to now decide to get back into this trade, right? So yes, I understand that the market is pushing like this, right? Now, what's the market level? You're like, well, broken the last high, or it's not even going to low, right? So we need to get another structure. So when we actually do this and create that double bottom, and market is ready to change structure here, right? As we can see, once it finally broke out of that, that's where the change of structure occurs, right? Guys, give me a second. Why I don't know why this keeps crashing. Right. Once it changes structure there, we know now it's time for us to potentially get into this trade, right? Now we will get this confirmation here of this break of this trend, right? But as it's breaking above here, then we know, okay, cool, it's time for us to potentially start looking for trades around here. Now, this is where a lot of people will come out their trades and be scared. Okay, so let me delete some of these, right? People get a trade there. Let's just say they get into a trade here, long position, right? They get into a trade there. Where would your stop loss be? Your stop loss would be below these structures there. You can see that's 27, right? Now you may get your first TP here, right? But your second need to be around this level here, right? Why would it be around this level? Because I can see that the market pushed heavy down from this area and pushed down, right? So if I was to have a trend line, this is actually really pissing me off because it's moving so slow. And I don't know why. Apologies, guys. I have a trend line from this way here coming down like so. But I would not have it from the very top. I would just keep it conservative from there and push it down like so. So that would be my 90% rule up here where I will be taking my trade out. This extra bit here is not going to bother me. So if you see to a trade that was profit, right? You change structure again. So once that price, expect the price will come back to retrace. It's normal, right? So that's where the confidence comes in. That's where the patient comes in because you're following your system. Okay, there's no need to be scared of that, right? And what have I said about this situation before? We've got a nice ascending triangle. We've got an impulse movement here. So what I want to see, another impulse movement once the price has broken outside of that area, right? Boom, like so. And we want to, obviously, we're not going to aim to the top. We're going to aim towards 9% rule based on this level here. And that will give us a nice trade, okay? So looking at it from the opposite way, right? Because you have to remember, we are reverse engineering this, right? We're not out here looking at it from a standpoint of, oh, that just happened, so let me take the trade. No, right? So remember, I'm going to go back to a daily time frame. Once we jump onto a daily time frame, let me take this camera out. Maybe that's making it a bit slow. Okay. Daily time frame, what can we see? We can see that the market is very much moving in here. There, 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 there. Right? So this would be a lower high as well, right? High there. So once that has come back to here, we're still pretty much underneath that. This Y, okay, underneath this area and underneath this area here as well. Okay, so remember what I was talking about Fibonacci. Because we know we are in a downtrend, what are we going to do? We're just going to draw a Fibonacci, right? We're going to draw a Fibonacci from here, from the highest point there, and you will see that I've drew my Fibonacci from the point of that market actually falling down from that area here, right? And then I'll wait for the market to retrace. So if you are taking a trade against the trend, you need to already know where it is that you need to get out, right? So I know that is, so that market there is from there. Guys, can you guys see properly, or is it crashing on your side? Because it's kind of crashing on my side. Okay, I see. Okay, cool. So I'll be taking my Fibonacci from there to the lowest point. It's just a bit delayed. Okay. I'll be taking my trade from here, and my Fibonacci from there all the way to the bottom, and then I'll wait for it to come back and retrace. Now, as you can see on the 4-hour time frame, we did push, and this is why I talk about psychological levels so much, because you can see the market did not respect that 78.6. Sorry, I was just taking the drink. The market did not respect that level of 78.6. But what actually happened? The market pushed up to psychological level. This is what I keep talking about. The market likes to move to these round numbers. Okay. And then what did we see? The market gives us a top, bearish engulfing. And then here, same again, just because the market has got to where we need to get to, this is where you start to analyze, because what do you want to see from that point? You want to see the market as it's been moving up like this, right? You want to see changes of structure for us now to start taking that sell, because now we know we are in the direction of the continuous move. Okay, so the reason why I've drew my line there, because that trend line allows me to understand that trend has now broken. Now we might potentially be looking for sells. Okay, now look at this. The market changes structure here, right? Double top, right? But then we can go to a 2-hour time frame just to see more picture, right? And I'm going to take off this Fibonacci. We don't have to take any trades until we are actually underneath this level, right? Because why are we going to take a trade if we're above support, right? You know already that market wants to the market is shifting, right? You already know that the market is looking to push down, but you are too eager to take the trade to a point where you've probably taken a trade here. Oh, come on, man, you slow down. You've probably taken a trade here, right? And your stop loss has been here, and then boom, market pushed down, and then they come and took you out. That's because you're too eager to take the trade. Wait for these breakouts, right? You can see you've got stuff on your charts that will allow you to understand that, you know, every single time the market comes back to this trend line of support, there's some reactions. But it's happened. That's the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, and then the fourth time it was weak, it broke below. So once it's back below here, this is down where you need to analyze to see how you can get into this setup. Okay. Then you've got break of a trend line underneath a level of resistance, right? You've got changes of structure, right? That's occurring here. It's occurring, change of structures. You've got a main change of structure here that occurred finally, and then you can take the sell. You can even take the sell a little bit before that, to be honest, right? But then your stops will be up here. Stop loss will be above that area resistance, and your TP will be at your level of support. And before you know it, you've got a nice, decent trade. But look how much time you've got in order to get into that trade, right? I will get into a trade probably here. Stop loss will be above there. There. And my stop loss and my take profit will be at my level of support. Like so, right? And then why is this so slow? Sorry guys, I'm gonna do everything tomorrow that this ain't happening, right? And that will be my trade. And before you know it, you've got 1.25, right? And that could still, you know, once you're in profit, you can just move that to there, right? And you're not risking anything, right? That's something where you need to be patient on. And then when the market gets to down here, right, you can take your trade off if you want to. If you don't want to be all in and out of this, like, just take your trade out, right? You already pretty much hit TP, okay? And that's how you trade, right? You know, there you can risk $200 to make a 1 to 3, right? So when it comes to trading, it's not about you know, running and chasing the markets. It's waiting for the markets to come to the places that you need to get to, right? Another thing is that you see here as well is you got a nice head, shoulder, right? There's so many things here teaching us, telling us to get into this setup, to get into this trade, right? We go to a small time frame. Go to a smaller time frames. You can add stuff like this, right? You can add stuff like this, where that's allowing you to understand that we are staying underneath that area. We're staying underneath here. And this comes to the third touch. What happens on the third touch, right? We had a nice breakout, comes back to retest, boom, it's gone. That's helping us understand that we are very much respecting that downtrend. Okay, you need to add things on your charts, not too much things, but things that's going to allow you to understand what's actually happening, right? What's actually happening in these markets, right? Now, obviously, all of this happens after, right? We don't really need all of this all the way down there, but we'll know that we are in this nice descending or nice downtrend, right? And that will allow you to understand you got head, the shoulder, boom. Okay, cool. You know, this is a breakout neckline, bomb has come back down again. Okay, so this is all come from a bigger standpoint. I've not once gone to, a very smaller time frame to analyze and see what the hell is going on here. Right? I don't care because I can already see what's happening around here. And following back to what I was saying yesterday, is that you can even draw a consolidation zone around. I might go back to a 1 hour. Consolidation zone around these areas, right? And once that market has broken outside of that area there, I'm like, okay, cool. What is it doing around that area, right? We can see the market has broken below these levels, right? It's broken below these levels, right? So because it's done that, I'm going to stay patient. Even if I get to a trade earlier on, your stop loss still needs to be above there, right? So if you're risking $200 on that 30 pips, 37 pips, right? You're going to be patient, right? You're going to be trusting your system because you're like, well, why wouldn't I trust it? Trust that market is going to go down when it's doing everything that it needs to do. It's broken outside of the trend. We are underneath our level of psychological resistance, right? We've broken outside of that consolidation, right? We need to be patient, right? You've got support there, trend line support that's broken, and also you've got that box, the psychological level, right? We can't be then rushing or stressing about that trade. Now, another thing that you need to understand is that if you're risking $200, right? $200 from, let's say, here to there, you're already at 1 to 1 there. You're already at 1 to 2 there. Like, you know what I mean? You've already made a decent amount of money, right? You might be up more because it was a 1 to 2.57 or something like that, right? But then it's like, why would I then not take my trade out here, right? Let's just say here. Why would I not take my trade out here? No, I'm up running like $500, right? Why am I gonna be wanting to go all the way down here, 20% rule? Yes, the market can still continue going down, but remember, what journey are you on, right? You've already did the hard work. You've already made really good money, right? So that's kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to you risking and you being patient on your trade and waiting for the market to give you money, right? You need to be patient, but also understand the journey, right? Obviously, here you would be patient. Really patient, let the market play out, let the market do what it needs to do, right? Why? Because we've come from a daily time frame where we understand that there's a shift that's occurring, right? There's a nice shift that's occurring from the bigger time frame, and the market is moving in lower lows, lower highs, right? So you then don't go and react a certain way, or you're watching your money go up or your money go down, or it's in consolidation. No, you're patient. You're letting the market actually do what the market needs to do, right? Does that make sense, guys? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna come off the chart now, but I'm gonna ask some questions. Let me get back on. I'm gonna get back on the call. Okay, please ask questions. If you have questions, by all means, ask me the questions. Do we have any questions today? I'm all reading the chat. Do we have any questions today? No questions? If you got no questions, just put no questions. If you have a question, feel free to come on and talk. All clear, all clear, all clear. Okay, perfect. So the market is starting in like an hour. I want everybody to take on board what we've said the last couple of lessons, right? And I want you guys to make sure that you are taking on board the lessons, like literally taking on board the lessons. Don't be out here doing random stuff. Don't be out here taking random trades, right? We want to make sure that we are, trading like how we want to make, like how we want to be, right? How we want to see ourselves in the future. We can't trade like random people, right? We want to trade as professionals, right? This is the most important thing. Okay, I am just gonna jump on the call. Okay. Okay, let me start the video. Tomorrow I'm gonna work on this internet thing. I think I might need to restart my what's it called, my Wi-Fi. View camera has changed. Let me put this other camera on. Guys, honestly, today I've been working. The devil has been working harder than everybody. Okay. Right. AJ, why don't I believe my fellow traders? What do you mean, bro? When you say that, what do you mean? One question. Do you asked all of us, what do you want to achieve before 2026? I want to know, is that thing that you're looking for just for? Wait, I'm trying to read your chats, but sometimes it's better for you guys to come and talk. Is that one thing you're looking for as far as 2026? What I'm looking for, I want a lot of you guys to become consistently profitable traders, right? Following your system, right? Following the right things in these charts. The way I'm showing you the charts is how I want you guys to see, because a lot of things will change, right? Because a lot of people think that you need to be trading all the time, when really and truly you can take one good setup, right, in a week. Like for example, Euro USD, I've been seeing this setup for a while, right? Like I said to you, if you look at the consolidation area underneath the resistance, the psychological level 1.6 is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Like it's been 2 days in consolidation, pretty much 36 hours in consolidation. That you could have easily took a decent trade for the week and made £1,000, 2,000, 3,000, depending on what you was risking. So it's not necessarily about catching all the trades under the sun or being on gold and trading like crazy, right? But instead, it's you picking the correct trades and the right trades for you to take for you to become profitable, right? So for me, so I just want you guys to get the mindset and get the understanding of when you are placing these trades that you're placing it with confidence, with trust, with understanding what's actually happening. Because I'll be honest, right? The one thing, the mindset, like, is so important. Like, I remember all the time, like, what I think about trading, and it's like this. It doesn't matter if I've got £1,000 or not. It doesn't matter if I've got 10K or not. It doesn't matter if I've got 100K or not. I'm going to make money because I know what I'm looking for in these markets, right? Whereas some people will come in these markets and they're scared because they don't trust their system. They don't trust the market. They don't trust what they're looking at. So they're scared because they're like, oh, I don't know whether I'm going to make money or not. Whereas I come in this market and I'm like, yo, I know I'm going to make money. I just need to be patient and wait for the trades to come to me, if that makes sense, right? From £1,000, I can go from 1,000 to 10K from £1,000, right? Sorry, if I'm doing like 100 to 10K to 20K, I know I just to wait for one good setup, and I'll make a decent amount of money. Whereas some people are coming in this market and like they're like fighting. It's like they're fighting Mike Tyson. Like, relax, be patient on these charts, because you rushing to make money, you're not going to make money. But you being patient, you're going to make a lot of money, right? It's funny because it's like you see the charts how you see it, right? The way I'm showing you guys, with the psychological levels, with increments of 100 pips, right? These things are occurring every single week in, week out. Sells, buys. Just make sure that you're in the right direction by looking at the bigger time frame. Daily, okay, we're in a downtrend. Okay, has pushed up this week. So next week it's gone to area of resistance or it's gone to Fibonacci level. We wait for the change of structure, and it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. When we are looking at that journey of, like, let's say the Euro USD, at first it went to 78 extension, right? Then it went to psychological level where we expect the market to go to, because we know already that these institutions want the market to go to that level. So you're like, oh, okay, cool, perfect. That's sweet. Then you got double top, right? And you're like, oh, sweet. Like, I don't really need to get into a trade just yet because it hasn't broken the trend and we're not underneath our level of resistance. Then when it gets underneath resistance, you're like, oh, it's underneath resistance and it's broken outside the trend and it's gonna Fibonacci is retraced off the Fibonacci 78. Oh, and it's changed structure. Oh, now we're staying underneath our level of resistance, which means it's broken that support. Now it becomes resistance. Now you're like, oh, like, look, I've got so much reason to actually take this sell. Oh, you got a head and shoulder pattern. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have all the time in the world to take that one trade and make as much money as you actually want. Now, I'm not saying go and risk your account, but what I'm saying is this, is that if you do this on a consistent basis, you're going to continue to make money consistently. Okay? Does that make sense? He hired some new guys. Seems like he knows we're about to win. 100%. The dev was working hard. No questions. The market is vague. Spend time where you know the reacts. 100%. Okay, perfect. Guys, we're going to end the call today. We was only supposed to do 1 hour. We've pushed up again. We had that psychology lesson earlier on. but tomorrow we're going to be talking about something else. I hope that you guys are 100% taking on board all the lessons. We are talking a lot about so many things, and if you don't go back and read it and listen to it, you're not going to get it right. You come onto this 21-day boot camp for a reason. You didn't come on here just be here. Okay, you come on here for you guys to learn. So I hope you guys are learning and taking on board so much. I know some people have obviously come out early, but just make sure that you are going back and reading through everything. Tomorrow I'm gonna do my best to make sure that my internet is working fine. Internet is working fine. It's just when I connect the things, it's playing up a little bit. But other than that, that's that for today's lesson, and we will catch up tomorrow. Okay? All right. Peace out. Peace out.